Innocence and ignorance, it all goes hand in hand. I'm not sure that I'm right, but I hope you'll understand. I hope that you're still searching for the start that has no end.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Everyone is Addicted. Today, AnnMarie has graciously come on to share her knowledge and her experience with addiction and mental health. And I'm going to let her take it away and welcome her. And yeah, hi. And
Thank
yeah,
you, Jasmine. Thank you. My name's AnnMarie. I'm from Ireland in a city called Belfast. Uh,
my
and next
grandmother's
month,
from there.
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
she
funny,
came.
that, isn't it?
Yeah, my mom's from Belfast. So
Oh, very good.
yeah, so that's cool. I like I'm not obvious. I've never been to Ireland. I've always wanted to go because of that, but that's cool. Anyway, sorry to cut you
Yeah, so
off.
you never know.
Sorry to cut you off anyways.
You're okay, you're right. So yeah, I live in a wee city called Belfast, in Ireland, and next month I'll be 15 years sober from alcohol.
Congratulations. Woo.
Yeah. So been sober 15 years next month from alcohol. And I never thought I would be sitting 15 years, don't mind 15 days. Do you know, when it's an amazing way of life, do you know, and being able to, and that's why I reached out to you, Jasmine, is because I feel that people need to hear my story, do you know, because it will help somebody else.
It does. It really does. Like I said before when we were talking, even for me, it helps me. So if it helps me, I know that it will help other people. Do you know what I mean? Just from the pure fact of I learned so much from just talking to everyone, right? And I think everyone has a story of their life, and a lot of people feel alone, and by hearing your
Yeah,
story they will feel not alone and maybe want to take that step towards sobriety because they feel not alone, or if they're struggling they feel not alone also. I kind of feel because it
yeah,
helps
yeah,
me.
exactly, exactly. And the reason, the way I look at it today, do you know, I'm sober for a reason, and that's why I help other women through the 12 steps. I have sponsees, so that helps me to help them. But it's to see their life change before your eyes. Do you know, it's amazing. Do you know, and like I, do you know, it's there's no other word to describe it. So
No,
do you
there's
want me to
not.
just tell you a bit about myself?
Yeah,
How I got sober, or why I got sober?
sure. Yeah. Why did you, well, what brought you to get sober? Like, what was the
Well,
motivation?
I got sober because I was in a mental institution for 4 months because of my alcoholism. Uh, and I was there for 4 months, and I lost my children. Social services had the children for 3 years, so
Oh,
I lost them.
sorry to hear
I was
that.
homeless. I was homeless. I lost the kids. I was jobless. I was living in a refuge. Do you know, and having to become dependent on myself. Like, I couldn't depend on myself. Like, with the fear and anxiety, do you know,
Hmm.
I was insane by that time. I was insane before when I got into the mental institution. Do you know,
With the
and I still
alcohol,
drink.
with the
Sorry.
alcohol, I was just saying with the alcohol, and I have horrible anxiety. Mixing that together,
Yeah,
it does really affect you because you drink to take away the anxiety, but then the next day you have more anxiety from
yeah.
not, and then
And
you
your
drink
head,
again to get rid of it, and your head's
yeah,
not
your
right.
head's just like a wash machine. It just
I
never
almost
stops.
I almost lost my daughter as well, so that is a big motivation of why I got sober because my mother-in-law called the children's aid on me, and her father, because her father is an intravenous drug user, and her mom, and she was afraid that something bad was going to happen to my daughter. She did actually find a needle one time. So I don't, I actually feel like my mother-in-law saved my life by doing that and saved my daughter's life.
Yeah.
So I don't
And
resent her
do you
for
know,
it.
Jasmine, and you think that's normal? You think that's normal like, way of living?
No.
Don't you? You really do. Like I thought that was normal way of living in and out of refuges and in and out of mental hospitals and losing children and losing yourself as well.
Oh, you definitely lose yourself, and it takes so long to get it back because with drinking, you definitely lose control of yourself. Like I was always been told I was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Like
Yeah,
completely opposite person, and I didn't care about anything, or and like it was just everything went out the window the second I started drinking, and I totally understand. We become very resourceful too to get what we want, but
yeah,
we're not resourceful in the way of actually helping ourselves. We're just resourceful in the way of drinking and making sure we have that um
yeah. We're
to,
scheming.
to like to lean on, and like you said, it is really really amazing to watch people like completely turn around, because I go to a Christian based 12-step program, and
Right.
watching like some of the people when we talk, it's just amazing to see, like after like if they could get it out, they are
Yeah,
just, you can see on their face that it's like, and then after like a while, when they actually fully recover and start doing really, like I feel like everybody who has recovered wants to help somebody. And I think that's
yeah,
the beauty
definitely.
in addiction. And even like with you having sponsees and stuff and being able to help them through your own experience and through 15 years of sobriety, which is incredible, because especially because with alcohol, because everybody offers you drinks. It's so
Yeah, and
widely accepted that
yeah,
it's one of the harder addictions to.
especially being Irish as well.
Yeah. It's funny whenever they say the paddy wagon, I'm like, it's the S wagon.
Yeah, exactly. I know. But
And it's,
yeah,
but yeah, anyway, sorry.
you're okay. But see, in the last 15 years, like there's like I've stayed sober in that length of time, Jasmine, and like shit happened in life, but I was still able to stay sober.
Thank you, because that's been going on in my life, and that's what I've been saying. I've been able to stay sober in the probably hardest time of my life I've ever had, besides losing my father, and it's incredible. So thank you.
Do you know what I mean? And like at the like 4 years ago, no, about 6 years ago, my sister committed suicide, and then 3 years ago, my niece was found with a drug overdose. She died, and then I had another one
That's
that
so
died a
hard.
year ago.
That's so hard because you're like being, I don't like the labels necessarily, but like having your addiction yourself, when you lose somebody close to you that from the same kind of thing, it hits harder, I feel like.
It really does. It really does. It really does. But I don't bother with any of my family because they're still so dysfunctional. They're still in an active addiction. So that's why I keep myself to myself and in my own home and help other people as much as I can. And all through that I didn't have to drink.
And it's amazing too, and when you like go through all of that and you don't feel the need to use, it's really like it really makes you feel like you're strong. You're it kind of like br- brings you up. It like uplifts you to know that you've been able to do this. You know what I mean? It like gives you that push. And I completely understand with the family aspect, because my mother is an alcoholic, and
Yeah,
I I like my kids, like love my stepdad, so we do see my mother often, but if she's drinking, I will point it out so that she stops because she doesn't like it when I point it out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like breaking generational trauma too for your own children. Do you know what I mean? So it stops at me and it stops at you, Jasmine, for your children and their children. Do you know, and that's a big thing because my daughter has an eating disorder. She's anorexia, and being able to be there for her, you know,
That's
which
one of the
I could never.
harder that's one of the hardest addictions because you have to eat and
Yeah,
like
to
to
survive.
keep yeah, so it's like I am sorry that that has happened, but because it is one of the hardest addictions to really deal with, right? So I'm it's but it's special that you're able to help her, and I probably helps you guys with your bond, and
Yeah,
especially since from your past, and it probably helps kind of bring you guys back together, you know what I mean, in a
it
more
does.
more like personal way of healing, because you can help
Yeah,
her heal after all of that stuff that had gone on, and you're able to guide her because you now know yourself how to guide somebody. So
exactly.
that's
And
amazing.
I believe, Jasmine, all these things it's happened for a reason. It's made me stronger for to show other people, no matter what happens in your life, you don't have to live the way you used to live.
I 100% agree. Like, I'm like what's going on in my life right now is not nearly as much as what you have experienced, but I understand that too. Like, I've been saying that on the podcast recently since this has been going on, that it's amazing being able to stay sober through this and not going back to old habits, because I know that it would just be so bad if I did. And I
Yeah.
just don't ever want to feel hungover ever again because it's
I
so
I I,
painful.
I know for a fact, Jasmine, I won't survive. I'd be dead myself. Like I know that for a fact. Because whenever I came out of the hospital, out of mental hospital, Jasmine, I remember finding a church in the town where the hospital was and getting down on my hands and knees and crying out to God because I was petrified of living, I was petrified of dying. I didn't know what I was doing. Do you know? And then a
Hmm
few weeks later, I end up in the 12-step program.
That's exactly like I've had a similar experience when my dad had cancer, and he's in a coma. They said he wasn't going to come back, and I got down on my hands and knees and cried and begged God to bring him back. And I promised I would quit drinking, and I did because I didn't want to break that promise because he did bring my dad back. And in finding that higher power through experiencing that really changed me, so and
Yeah.
so emotional, and it's so personal. And that's when my mother-in-law runs um this 12-step program that is religion based, and she's been sober for like 30 years. Even though her son's an addict, she was an alcoholic, and decided to try her like, it's not her program, but she runs it in our area, and I decided to try it after years and years and years of not, because I just thought I didn't need to, right? And then when it really hit me that I didn't want to be this person anymore. I didn't want to live this life and this cycle. And I almost, like I said, lost my daughter because of it. And I also didn't want to be drunk, and I black out every time. So I didn't
Yeah.
want the last little bit of time I had with my dad to be forgotten, right? So that's why I totally understand exactly what you mean when you just dropping to your
Yeah.
knees because you
Yeah.
just
And
can't just
yeah, and I think
need
that's
to.
why I'm sober for so long is because I know and I will never forget that feeling I got whenever I did do that in the chapel.
I've done it a few times even recently, just drop to my knees crying and asking God to help show me the way, you
Yeah.
know?
I done that a few times after that as well because without I know for a fact that without my higher power God, I don't know where I'd be. Do you know, and he's got me this far.
Exactly. That's why I say, like, I ask him to show me the way. I don't ask for money or ask for things per
No.
se. I ask just to guide me and show me what the
Yeah.
plan is, what the path is. And even in like this hardship, I realize what the lessons were meant for me. You know what I mean? Like why
Yeah.
it happened. There was reasons like God wanted to show me that I need to maybe respect the things that I have a little more, and you know, a lot of lessons like that, you know, like, and I think like even with you, like with losing those people and not relapsing, it was God's way of showing you how strong you
Definitely.
are, you know, and how your purpose is here to be here to show people that strength that you have and pass it on, you know?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Like it really is. And then I realized, like I says, there's a reason why all them things has happened is because God has a plan for me. God has a purpose for me.
I agree. And even like with your daughter, like that's your purpose, right? There's another part of your purpose right there, you know. If she didn't have you, what would happen to her, you know?
To be in hospital. She was already in the hospital for 4 months, for 3 months. So she was.
Oh wow. I just know that's one of the hardest addictions, and
Yeah.
um it's one that like really it really is hard to fight. I just from I don't know a lot of people that have actually had that addiction myself, but I have studied it and stuff like that, and I just know that it is something that is extremely difficult to deal with. And if you don't have somebody to lean on, it just
Yeah.
makes it worse. And it
Worst.
if you have somebody like especially your mom who has overcome an addiction and all these obstacles, the guidance that you can provide her is so much more than the guidance I think
Exactly.
that a
Yeah.
counselor would, you know, because it has
Yeah, exactly.
experience.
That's yeah, that exactly.
And how is she doing now?
It's we just have to take it day by day.
Mm,
You know yourself, we'll just have to take it day by day.
yeah. See,
So
my
like,
kids are
but
little, so
she still goes to counseling.
that's good because like I that's what I worry about. My kids are little, right? So I always worry about what the future holds for those kinds of things.
Yeah,
And I've even noticed with my daughter, like seeing her suck at it, like suck in when she takes a picture or something. And I'm like, that's the beginning of something, you
but
know?
isn't it amazing to be aware of that, Jasmine?
Hmm.
Do you know it's amazing to be aware of that? Do you know because you be more in tune to be able to help her more because then you be advancing and it's just society today for young ones. It's terrible society for young ones today. Do you know it's all that what do you call that
Social media stuff.
pressure? Yeah, all that pressure and all for them.
Hmm. Like she watches all those videos of like girls, you know, and she just I was the same, so I feel like she just has my genetics where I wanted to be that girl that everybody liked, and she's way better at being social than I was. I was actually bullied pretty hard most of my life. So I think it's like good or beautiful actually to see how she makes friends so easily, but I see the things she watches and then she like wants to be that, you know, and that
Yeah,
is the pressure right there is, oh, I see this and it's in my face all the time. And then all the other kids, it's in their face all the time. And it's crazy. Like she told me on her bus that she's 8, that another kid that's 8 was vaping on the bus. And I'm like, how does an 8-year-old vape. I mean, I smoke, I will admit that, but I'm an adult, you know what I mean? And how does
Yeah,
an 8-year-old
exactly.
get a vape? But that right there is the start of addiction so much earlier than when we were
Yeah,
younger, you know? It wasn't
definitely.
so accessible or even just, I don't know, like so in your face, like I said, with the social media, because like she
Yeah,
just
social media, yeah, definitely.
like she wants to be like, because those girls have like the makeup and they look so pretty and they, I don't know, you know what I mean? Just so that's what she wants, right? And
Yeah.
I know self-esteem wise, I'm I don't think that looks matter, but it's just forced on her, you know what I mean? And like,
And yeah, and it's about finding it's finding your deep down within, you know, how your self esteem affects your outside, if that makes sense.
yeah. And that's where you have to get to like your root causes when you get like sober to figure out why you started to drink and what the reasons were, right? Or else
Yeah,
you're going to be stuck in that cycle. And I know, like, from my own experience, I had like the bullying was a major root cause, right? Like I was afraid of people. So I would drink so that I could be social, and I would drink so that I felt better about myself, you know? And that was the main thing. It was just so that I hated myself. I absolutely hated myself. So drinking made me like myself. So I would drink and I mean,
so it made
it
life easier for you.
yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
did. Didn't really. Like I
no, until I stopped working.
hmm and I worked in it was bad too because I worked in restaurants, right? So after work, it's just the culture of working in a restaurant. You all line up at the bar after your shift and have drinks, and then everybody would go home. I would take a taxi to another bar and go
Yeah,
all night, maybe do some cocaine and then keep drinking for like 3 days and then be so sick.
yeah,
And I remember shaking, trying to put my eyeliner on, going to work. And um, I always, like, I knew when I was going to get fired because obviously I would go to work either really hungover, stinking like alcohol, or I'd be sneaking drinks in the closet or something like that. And I would know that they were going to fire me. So I quit right before they did, you know? So then it would
yeah.
just go like in a cycle like that. And I found when I wasn't working, it was even worse because I would just literally plan my schedule around my drinking, and it took my whole life over. And finding that higher power is the only thing still to this day that really can set me straight in my mind.
Free, set you
Really is.
free. Yeah, it really is. You know, because I think that whenever you suffer from addiction, it's like it's a soul sickness,
Hmm.
and it's the only thing that helps you is your higher power to keep you sober
Hmm.
and for that to help other people as well.
And it find that even I find people will come into the rooms and be agnostic, and then in a few months they totally flip around and they're like looking to God and saying the
Yeah,
prayers and stuff like that. But at first they're so against religion and against a higher power. And then once they start, getting their mind clear and seeing other people and how they are and how happy they are, or not necessarily happy, but how they're able to handle challenges, handle
yeah,
life with a better attitude, maybe, I guess. I don't know the word for it.
yeah,
And you see that and it makes you want to be that. That's what it was for me. I seen it and I wanted to be it. That's what got me to AA in the first place. My mom actually, this friend of mine, my mom lives in his granny suite, but one day I was walking to the liquor store and I seen him downtown. I lived in a small town, and he looked glowing, and he was so happy. Like, not he was so happy with himself. Like he started to love himself, and I seen that, and he told me that he'd been going to AA and or 12, well, whatever. I will say
Yeah.
he's going to AA, and I was holding this bottle of wine, and he's like, I'm not judging you, but I wanted what he had. So I decided to like put that down and go. It didn't stick at first. Obviously, I didn't. I was 24, so I didn't want to accept that I'm an alcoholic and that I have to be that for the rest of my life because I was young, right? And
Yeah.
dating and having to explain it to people, it was just a lot. But seeing what he had was what got me to go. And I feel like that is what sobriety gives us, is when people see that, they want it too. They want to love
Yeah.
themselves. You don't want to hate yourself, right? You want to love
I
yourself.
know.
And that's where it starts, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Funny enough, you were saying about the fella. I met a friend where I used to live, and I was in the 12-step program, and she was sitting at the beach, and she was sitting drinking beer or tins of beer, and I was talking away to her and all, free, just being free, and I used to drink with this girl, and I done a tour a few weeks ago in her meeting, and she actually says to me at the end of the meeting, God, I remember when I met you at the beach, and you just look, your eyes just look so clear, and you look so free. So she ended up in the 12-step program as well.
I think it's when
Isn't
people
that
see
amazing?
it is so amazing. And I think it's when people see the light come back into your eyes, you know, and they
Yeah,
don't have that and they want it. And that is, it's so like beautiful, like that, like, you know what I mean? When you look, if you're struggling and then you look back on that, you think, okay, you know, obviously I like you influenced her, you know, so you know
yeah,
that you're able to, you're able to navigate life, and you're able to stay sober, and by staying sober you're actually helping other people without even knowing it, you know what I mean?
exactly. I know. And even whenever the kids were away from me, they were away for 3 years. Like, I just lived in the 12-step program. I just lived in them meetings, I went to them meetings for 2 years, non-stop until I got the kids back, and then I had to go and live in like a place where you get assessed by the trust.
Yeah.
Now you get assessed by social services like 24 hours a day, so they're constantly watching you. But I
Hmm.
done that sober.
See, that's good though, because I have friends that aren't sober and their children have been taken away, and they go to those places, and they'll post pictures of themselves with their kids, but you can still see that they
The
like
dead eyes.
the dead eyes, the picks on their skin and stuff like that. And I actually have this one friend who he's whenever he drinks and he talks about his son, it's all he does is talk about his son when he drinks. And it's sad. Like, it's so sad. Me and the friend that I told you about, we are still friends. My mom lives with him. I see him all the time. We've helped each other through sobriety. We've had other addictions besides alcohol, and that's how we've
Yeah,
kind of reconnected. We met again at the methadone clinic. Like, it's just our paths always cross. But we have this friend, and whenever he drinks, he talks about his son nonstop. But he doesn't have his son because he drinks too much. And we both just sit there and almost cry because we're like, Tyler, we if you just put and he'll sneak it. He'll say he only had a couple beers, but he'll have a flask inside his like jacket or something, you know. So
yeah,
he makes it look like he's only drinking two beers, but he's really drinking a lot more. And it's just it's sad because I want to see the light come back in his eyes because I remember him from child, like, because we all grew up together. I remember him when he wasn't like that, and I miss that person, and I know that his son misses him too, because this is recent. He wasn't always like this. It was like he moved to a different part of our country, and being taken away from like everybody he knew. I think it just for he did it for work. He was a chef, or he's a chef, and I think that being away from everybody in the loneliness, he started to drink, and it just he
Yeah.
can't stop, and it's just so hard when you see friends like that and you want to help them, but you can't force recovery on somebody. They won't
Yeah.
accept it, and
Yeah,
so
that's I have a friend like that, and like she doesn't how lucky she is to have a loving family around her. And I moved to a different area as well, and she asked me why do I not bother with her anymore, and I said because of your drinking. I don't want to be in that environment, and that's what like we have a choice today to
mhm.
who we can be with and who we don't have to be with. So we have a choice. God gives us free will, so our free will decides our free will makes us make that decision if I'd want to go back and stay with my friend and sit with her while she's drinking, or will I do God's will, if that makes sense.
Oh, it
And that's
totally
why I
makes.
say that's why I say is here's me that's the reason why I don't bother with you anymore is because you're drinking.
Well, it's even like with my mom, like I would love to have like a girls' night or do some like
Yeah,
do stuff with her, but
normal.
she needs the alcohol. And if like say we have a birthday party for my children, she'll come over and she won't drink at my house, but she won't stay very long because you can see her hands start to shake, and she's drank before and now it's starting to wear off, so she has to go back home.
Yeah,
And I like I said, I can't sit around her when she's like that, and she knows that. And it's the same thing like with your friend, right? Like we have that choice, and I don't want to sit and listen to her because she repeats herself when she drinks.
yeah. And
And
just talk shit.
yeah, she talks shit about
Yeah,
everybody, and
everybody. Yeah,
she victimizes herself, and she's very mean to my stepdad to the point where he is going to come live with us because he can't take it anymore. And
yeah,
because she'll drink a box of wine, and that's 4 liters of alcohol in like 2 days, so that's a lot. And
yeah,
she's just not herself, and I you don't want to be around it, and it's not because it triggers me, it's just irritating. I
yeah.
guess, you
It's
know.
like victims. No, not victims. No, vampires. Energy
Mhm.
vampires. Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
exactly what it is. And like I said, she lives with my friend, and he likes horticulture, so he'll be out in his garden. And my mom also likes to garden, so she'll drink and sit there and talk to him. And he was telling me like he doesn't like it either, and he doesn't know how to get away from her when she does it because she just follows him around while he's doing his work, and he's
Oh,
like,
goodness.
I can't get my work done, so I have to go in the house until she goes in the house, and then I go back outside, and then she sees me and she comes back out, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't. He's like, because his mother passed away, he doesn't know how to tell her to leave him alone or whatever, because he just has that it's kind of like me with my dad, it's just he has that emotional tie to like a
yeah,
woman that of that age, and he just doesn't know how to get away from the energy vampire,
yeah,
and
yeah,
she thinks that he doesn't know that she's drinking, but he does, and he we are both on harm, well, he just stopped taking it recently, but we're both on harm reduction medication called Suboxone. And if I I didn't have that little backup, it could be easy to slip. And he said that because he stopped taking it.
Yeah.
Makes him
And
crave alcohol because she's nonstop drinking in front of him.
yeah, and it just goes to show you, you know, it's like I was in that kind of position over the weekend, and my brother and sister would be on drugs, and I was in their company over the weekend, and it just goes to show you, like I haven't spoke to them in I don't know how long, and I called in on Saturday, and I knew by my nervous system that I shouldn't have been there. Like God removed them people, God removed them from my life for a reason. But I
Hmm.
sat there and see my nervous system, I was shaking and everything. I don't know what what was wrong with me,
I know
but it
that
just goes
feeling.
to
It's a
show,
trauma. It's
yeah,
like it's a trauma from. I know that feeling too. Like, yeah, it's like fight
yeah,
or flight
and then
response.
yeah, and that's what it was. That's what exactly that's what it was, and it just goes to show you if you're in that if you're in that place, it just goes to show you if you're in that frame of mind, it just goes to show you how quick it would happen, just like that,
It's
just
so
to pick up
easy.
what they're taking,
hmm
to be in that same environment.
Oh yeah, like even with my mom sometimes. Um, well, her drinking, she just turns into a horrible person, so it doesn't really make me want it. But other people it does. Like my best friend Eve since childhood, she'll have a glass of wine while we're hanging out, and she never like overdoes it. But say we're sitting in the garage smoking, and she'll have a glass of wine, and it does make me wish sometimes that I could sit there and have a glass of wine too, but I know I can't. So
Yeah.
I get that same response where I'm like, oh, I don't
Yeah, it's
feel
like
right.
oh my God, my nervous system was just I just couldn't stop shaking. And so I needed to get out as soon as possible. But that's what I was thinking. Here's me. Like I went done my will and went back after God removing them people from my life. Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean? So it just goes to show you, you know, with my self will, I won't be I'd be the same in the same place where I was going back to the old self, just the way you were talking. Joe, but today I don't live like that because I know there's a better way of life. Like I'm no different from anybody. I'm no different from the ex-alcoholic or the ex-drunk drug addict because I'm in recovery. I don't see myself as any better than them only because I'm in
Exactly.
recovery.
It's just you had enough, you know what I mean? And you wanted
Yeah,
different. That's all. And that's kind of the same kind of why I started this podcast, honestly, because my like I said, my daughter's father is a heavy drug user. And I like where I live, there's a lot of that and a lot of homelessness. And I would have been homeless if it wasn't for my father that let me live with him. And I see how they like people that have never been affected by addiction treat them like literally like they're just garbage on the street when really
yeah,
there's a like they didn't sit there when they were 5 and go, oh, I want to be here,
yeah,
I want to be homeless and strung out or drunk or whatever it is, and I've lost everything and I'm here now. Nobody wants that. And so treating them the way you do just keeps them sick, I think,
yeah,
because
definitely,
they're just being put
definitely,
down and told that's all you are. And I had an abusive boyfriend that would say that to me too. You're an alcoholic, that's all you're ever gonna be. Might as well, and he would hand me a bottle of freaking liquor and be like, you take a drink, you're an alcoholic, like, and it hurts, right? So like I
yeah.
see that people just
And
don't understand.
yeah, and it's like living with that emotional baggage. It's living with that emotional abuse and that manipulating abuse. The psychological abuse is worse than like physical abuse, I think, because it's graded deep down within. You believe that that's all you are. You know,
Well,
and getting out of that relationship it was probably the best thing you ever done. Same as myself. I was in an abusive relationship, and that's why I was in and out of. women's aid refuges to get away from it. But and again, that's where it all boils down to. You know, again, that's what I said before. There's a reason why these things happen.
Yeah,
Is to help somebody else at the end of the day.
it's like that's like what I mean by like when you're in the negative situation, you might not always see the lessons that God is trying to show you, but once you get out of it and you have that little bit of time to heal yourself, especially emotionally, you
Yeah,
real you really realize what the lesson was, and like that my lesson I think from that whole experience was that I needed to learn how to stand up for myself, and I wasn't standing up
yeah,
for myself, and I needed to learn how to do that, and that was the lesson in that whole thing. And I also think that it put me on the path of learning how to actually love and care about myself because
yeah,
of all of the things that had been said. um you know what I mean? It really affects you, and like I already had these things really ingrained in me since childhood because of
yeah,
the way I was treated as a child, so
yeah.
it would bring me like flashback me to
Back,
that.
yeah, I bring you back to that. I bring, yeah, and that's why you feel that your or your nervous system is like giving up. So
I
that's
want
why
to
you have
jump
to
out of
get
the
away from it.
car. I literally tried to
Yeah,
jump out of the car one time, like I had to get away.
I know, isn't that mad? But you saying that you have to start to learn to love yourself again, like you have to start from scratch.
Hmm. They
And it's
really
like
do.
being going back to childhood, it's going back to childhood. It's like whenever you go back to childhood, it's like recognizing that we small child again and loving that we small child again.
I know,
You're in
like
it, you're in a
so
child.
true. Because we are still like I talked to somebody yesterday that said, you know what? We are still that child that
Yeah,
inside, that had like if we haven't healed, we're still that child inside. And even if we still have those things that happen, and we're still so vulnerable, and we
yeah,
don't always realize it until something comes up how vulnerable we are. And like even with me, I will, when I'm feeling like bad, I want to use, especially when I first got sober, I would watch television shows that used to make me feel happy when I was little,
yeah.
like, or do things when I was little that made me happy
Make you
to
happy.
change my habits. Yeah. And I used to tell people that, and they thought I was crazy. And I'm like, no, seriously, try doing that, and it'll reset your cycle of, you know, living in this other way, right? And
Yeah,
it's what helped me. But like I said, other people, everybody, it's not one size fits all when it comes to recovery. And like I said, like we both go to meetings, right? Some people don't like meetings, but that's your choice, right? But
yeah,
it's a there for you all the time. So if you are first getting sober, they have meetings all day long. So instead of going and picking up a bottle at the liquor store, you can go to a meeting any time of the day pretty much, which is a blessing because if people didn't have that, especially at first, they it's so easy just to not care. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Definitely,
Do it
definitely. And
as
I believe that like them groups have been made from from God. Like
mhm.
where would alcoholics or addicts be if we didn't have that?
And I said with different methods. Dr. Bob actually says in the big book that like AA and NA and like the programs at that
Yeah,
time are the um only way that they have found people to maintain sobriety yet. But he uses the word
yeah,
yet. So now, like, and so people don't realize that, right? He says there's no other way yet. That was in the 1920s. Now
Exactly.
there's so many other ways that if you don't feel comfortable in that setting, you can find something that you like would help you, and with the internet, all you gotta do is Google you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And you can find what you're looking for, like per se, people who there's a drug called naltrexone, and it helps you quit drinking, right? So say
Yes, I heard of that.
you don't want to you don't have to abstain. It actually eventually makes you like if it rewires your brain to want to abstain eventually, right? And then if say you don't want to abstain or you're afraid to abstain, there's something now, the Sinclair method with the naltrexone, that is there. And that's what I mean by the big book. People don't realize it's Dr. Bob said, not yet. Now,
Not yet.
now there's so much, right? So it gives us freedom of choice, and it gives us freedom to be ourselves. And I mean, like, I I don't think I would take it myself, but if you're somebody who
Yeah.
wants to, that's an option, right? But that's what I like about what Dr. Bob said in the big book, right? Because it's so true that if you want to find sobriety, you can find it any way, any shape, form now. And it's true. In the 1920s, they had nothing, and now
Yeah.
we have lots
Exactly.
more. And that there's a movie about Bill Wilson
Yeah.
called
Did you watch it?
it's called When Love is Not Enough, right? And there's a quote at the end that Lois Wilson says, well, I guess Winona Ryder said, and it's about our hearts can understand things that our minds cannot. And that always stuck with me, and it always helped me to understand other people and forgive other people and forgive myself, because it's
Yeah.
true. Our hearts do understand more than our minds do. And that stuck
Yeah.
with me. That's when I realized I was an alcoholic. That movie is very special to me, I guess. But yeah. And I feel like even with you, like being able to help people amongst even having family members that are still sick, you're still able to put that in its box and go and help people and not have to have that weigh on you because you
Yeah.
have your higher power now, right? It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Definitely. Definitely. Because like whenever you were saying like that was opened up in 1930s, the fellowship. But look at now, it's 2025, and I think that's why I've started to have more of an open minded, because I want more than just going to AA or going to fellowship. I want more. But I know God, and that's what I say, is that I know God has a plan, has a purpose for me, and that's whenever I feel more contented with God, is whenever I talk about it.
I think
So
that's what is your purpose is to share and help people see the strength you had.
yeah, and I was actually in a treatment center last night, and I done a tour, and like there was a wee lad there, and honest to God, Jasmine, I think he was 21, and he was there for drugs, and here's me like, you have your whole life in front of you, like. And I just told him about my family members that died from drugs, and I just reassured him. That's the reason why I was in that rehab center, is to get, and they just told me to go to fellowship. So I just like, he was only a kid, like my son's older than him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
21
know?
to me is so young now, like that.
Yeah,
You do have your whole life ahead of you, and starting off that young is a blessing.
yeah, and even to be able to give them a hug after it, to tell them that they're not on their own. And even
Mm-hmm.
sharing my story, like the one that fellas were crying, who
Oh,
was
I
in the
can
treatment
imagine.
center. Here's me like, isn't that amazing? Because I'm dealing, or I'm sure my story, but it's getting deep down within that person. Whenever they're getting so emotional, crying in front of people.
They're resonating with it, and it's hitting them that they are walking the same path, it
Yeah,
it like it's beautiful, and it's hard when you see people in the fellowship like struggling, and you like, I know this one woman, she because of the group I go to, it's not just for alcohol or drugs, it's for anything kind of with mental
anything.
health. This woman has a gambling issue, and she just relapsed, and she was broken, and I was sitting beside her, and I was just like, I just wanted to say to her, I have all these resources, I can help you, but I know that there's a boundary there because I don't want to push my ideas onto her, but
Yeah,
at the same time, I just sat there and gave her a hug and supported her and said, you know what, we all sometimes fall, and you'll be okay, instead of being like, well, I have all these resources and I can da 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 da,
yeah.
because I don't think that would
Because then
help her.
yeah, because then you're listening to your ego.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't
Yeah,
want to do that to her because I just wanted to help her, but I didn't know how. And that was something that kind of sucked. But I just sat with her, and I could feel her pain, I could feel her
yeah,
sadness, and that's the part when you see people struggling and you see their sadness, but then eventually they turn around, right? And you see that, and that is also so beautiful because, like I said, like, she was new to the program anyways, so it was, she
yeah.
hadn't quite gotten there yet, and her husband's making it hard on her because he's very checks her purse all the time, see if she has scratch tickets and all that kind of stuff. And I think that that is really what led to the relapse, was the fact that
The
he was
pressure.
throwing it in her face all the time, so she was like, screw it, I'm
Yeah,
going to scratch her, right? But um I I have watched her though over the last few months, and even though, yes, she bought a lottery ticket, I mean, that's not a huge relapse or anything like that. I've seen that with us, because the women go in one room and the men go in another, and
that's good.
when we rally around her, you can see the emotional change, even in her body language and everything, and I think back to like when I first went, and I had somebody very special that was in the program, and he was very wise. He had he had just went on a basically a spiritual like journey, right? And he was native, so that's what I mean by he went on like a spirit quest,
Right.
and
Yeah,
he was just very wise about things. And I sadly he's passed, but he was the one that did that with me, you know what I mean? And I remember he would drive me to meetings because I lost my license from a drinking and driving accident, and he would drive me to meetings, and we would sit there, and he would share his wisdom with me. And at that time, like I said, I was 13 stepping, so that was why I didn't fully you
yeah,
know, get it the first time, because once that relationship ended, I was kind of, it took that.
yeah. You're back to square one again. You're back to
Yeah,
square one after your
yeah,
emotion.
yeah. So
Yeah,
then I had to start all over again. But the other people like him, I learned so much from him, and he understood things that I understood, where like the man I was seeing didn't really look at things the way I did, and he
yeah,
was more of by the book, blah, like everything by the book, by the book, by the book. No higher power. His dog was his higher power. So
Oh,
he
right.
he was a little different. So when I would talk to this friend of mine, he had the higher power, and he, Eckhart Tolle or whatever, like the writer, he would speak a lot about that, and he taught me a lot about just rewiring my thinking, right? And
Yeah.
I learned so much, and even though maybe my it didn't stick the drinking aspect, I had that seed planted. And if I hadn't
Yeah.
had that person that talked to me in that way and guided me in that way, I don't know if I would have actually ever gotten sober or off of alcohol.
Yeah. And here, Jasmine, isn't that terrible to be like a young girl being going to the fellowship and being 13 stepped? Because it happened to me too.
I mean, he was 10 years older than me. So like
And you know what? There's not enough talking about it. There's never enough talking about it. And that's why whenever I go to meetings, whenever there's young girls just to help them and support them and just make them aware of it.
because
But I think it should be like a woman to like women's meeting and men's meeting, just the way you says that.
they didn't do that with the original meetings that I went to, right? So I would always, try to gussy up and be like I
Yeah,
my cared more about getting his attention. And for him, I was never good enough because I didn't do things in his way. So
and he way.
he would always like never fully commit to me because I wasn't doing things his way. I was never good enough.
His way
And
or no way.
And the funny part is, I seen him at a meeting recently, and he is such a narcissistic person that he's married now. I was going there because of my life situation because I was struggling and I needed a meeting,
Yeah,
right? And he was like, "Oh, don't talk about the past, and don't my wife doesn't want you to talk to me," and like saying all these really things that were about him, but I wasn't
yeah,
there for him. And that's what I said, I'm not there for you. I don't care about the past, I care about the present and helping myself. And he
yeah.
just went on and on and on, and I showed it to my friend, because the friend that I spoke to you about, because we go to the meeting together, and my friend was like, that was so long ago. Why does he even care?
Why is he still talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like, it's all because his wife's jealousy issues and stuff. But like, why does it matter? And then it makes me feel like I'm not wanted at that meeting. But I'm strong enough now
yeah.
to
But
not
that's
care.
probably your head telling you that.
That's what he wants me to, that's what he
He wants you to
wants.
feel like that.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm here because I need help, and I'm gonna come here
You're
because
there for
I need
you.
help.
You're not there for anything else.
Exactly. And like you said, with young girls, it's so easy. And I will say that the men definitely do target us,
Yeah,
I I
yeah,
know somebody that I used to read tarot cards, so I would read his cards, and he would always talk about this woman that just came into AA that he liked, and he would target her, and he actually went too far, and she got a restraining order on him, but like they target us. It's really evident,
yeah. They really do. They do. The target the weak ones.
and
Well,
the
they
young
think we're
ones.
weak. The young ones, yeah, who's vulnerable.
And like you
Vulnerable.
said, and the weak ones, because she had just started going, and it wasn't young. That's why she was able to like say no. Um, I'm going to not deal with you, and I'm not. And he had the same kind of ego that the person I seen had, right? So she was older and smarter, and you know, set up that
Wasn't gonna take it.
boundary.
And, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then he would talk negatively about her, like, "Oh, she's a bitch, and she just wants every man's attention," and like say negative things about her. but realistically, she just wants to get sober. She doesn't want the
Yeah,
13th step, and that's why she is not wanting your attention. And that's a big
exactly.
that's a big thing in the program, like you said, that really isn't talked about. Like, I don't think I've had
Yeah,
this conversation with anybody else about how it really is very prevalent. Even like if it's even across the pond, all the way over, you know what I mean? It's prevalent everywhere, and that's why I like the meeting I go to now, because I can go in the women's room and I don't have to
yeah.
sit there and talk in front of
Attack
that.
the battle.
Yeah. Well, especially because I had that man goes to those meetings. I don't want to sit there and talk about things with him sitting there thinking
Yeah,
things, right? So it's more freeing for me to do it that way. And I
and
wish that,
even to be, yeah, even to be like an alcoholic as a woman, I think it's completely different for a man because women are left with their all their children, and it's hard being not in no an active alcoholic having children. Like,
hmm
it's so hard for a woman to be an alcoholic, especially with children.
you feel
I
the
think it's
guilt
more worse.
too. I agree. And like for a woman, because you're right, the children and the guilt you feel, and then that just
Yeah,
creates a cycle worse, and then you make things worse, and everything's on you all the time.
yeah.
And you're so right about that too.
So much responsibility for a woman.
Hmm
Where a man can just get his coat on, away you go.
exactly. And even in like my real life now, I mean, I don't per se have like an actual job. I'm in school, right? So I'm the primary caregiver to my children. My husband
Oh
works.
my.
So the feeling of that there's still a lot of pressure there, because it's just me most of the time with them. And
Yeah,
I, even without drinking, it's just you're always worrying about doing the right things with them, making sure they're happy, making sure I just, because I relive the past of sometimes the things I feel shame about that I did while I was drinking with my children. Like, it really hits me. So I really am hyper focused on,
yeah.
being the best parent I can be, and with a
And
man.
especially if you're a single parent too, like myself, you have to try and do the best for everyone. And even being if you're out working, as I work in a hostel, a family hostel for homeless,
Oh, that's
and just,
beautiful.
yeah. But I'm leaving there because I know, and this is the first ever podcast I've done. So it is. So this is why I need to get my voice need to get my voice out more.
Well, I can definitely hook you up with a lot of people that
Yeah, definitely.
do podcasts like mine. And because sometimes I will guest on podcasts, and I will definitely connect you with them.
Yeah, definitely,
I'll
definitely.
email you their emails, and you guys can
Yes,
connect, and I'll let them know and stuff, because I do believe that that is your path, is to share your story to help others, because your story is quite a one full of strength. A, you came back from losing everything. B, you are able to stay sober with your family members in active addiction. And C, you are dealing with a child in active addiction and still staying sober, and being able to show like her how to go and follow the way. So you have so much to say and offer
yeah,
people that are
definitely.
in similar situations. Like, for example, I will ask you, because this will be something people would like to know. How did you get your kids back?
As I went to court, and I had to go and live in the house,
Hmm
which for 3 months to be assessed, and I had to live there for 3 months, and I was, what was it? supervised, and breakfast, dinner, lunch, bedtime, morning time. So it was more or less prison, but with your children.
Yeah. It's a bit,
And
yeah,
I
basically you're
Yeah,
being
that's
watched.
more or less what it was. And then I stayed there for 3 months, and then I got a house, and then but I still had social services, but they were still under a court order. I don't know if they have them in
Yeah.
America, but they were still under a court order, so I had to stay with social services for a year before social service was gone.
Yeah, I had to
So
stay with them for
basically,
a year too, and they're very invasive.
yeah, oh God, they're terrible.
They would, I was court ordered to go to counseling, and they had to look at, like, they basically recorded my counseling sessions and listened to them to make sure that I was,
Yeah,
like, whatever I was
like
saying it and stuff. It was crazy. It's
like
crazy
they
the
could
things they
they
knew.
Yeah, like they social services when we're going through the court proceedings, like I had to go through the a psychologist and a psychological assessment
Yeah, I
because before I got sober, I was going to kill the kids and take I was going to kill the kids and I was going to take kill myself as well. So
I
that's
was gonna
why
I was gonna do
the
that
kids were
too.
taken.
I was gonna do that too, so don't feel alone in that. I was
Isn't
gonna
that
do
mad? But we have so
it.
much in common, Jasmine.
I know, because I've even mentioned that to, like, my spouse, and he's like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, it was just, I
It's
just,
just that frame
I
of
didn't,
mind you're in.
well, I didn't want to leave them, but
Yeah,
in the world by themselves and have to go to foster care, but I didn't want to live anymore. So it was just that thought process, right? And
yeah,
that that was why I had to go to counseling, and I had to really watch what I said to the counselor, because I knew that if I had
yeah,
admitted that they were going to I would be under 72-hour lockdown in the psych ward, and they would be taken away immediately. So I had to
yeah,
really watch what I said, even though that's how I felt. And I even expressed that to my spouse and stuff like that. And obviously, he was there to, like, help me in that um time. But I totally understand that. And I think that we're not the only, like I said, people, we're not alone, right? So,
yeah,
in bravely sharing things like that, I think other people won't feel alone and will be able to possibly move forward themselves, because that
yeah.
shame of that feeling, once you know that somebody else felt that way too, you
And
don't
you
feel.
look, yeah, and you can see you look at all over the news, all over the world that happens to people, and people don't understand why they done it. But if people understand, there's other people that felt like that, but go, they didn't do it. Do You
Exactly.
know, there's a there's a, like you says, there's a reason why you didn't do it is because you know that it wasn't going to solve nothing, and now that when you look back at it helps people.
Well, I actually want to write a novel called To My Children, and it's actually a story. It's my suicide letter, and to my children saying goodbye. And then in the end of the story, I was going to take them with me, because that was something I actually felt. But I wanted to write it into a story, but more obviously fiction, because I didn't really do it. But it was just to get that feeling out. I've wanted to write that, because I feel like putting those emotions on paper might help me
Yeah,
get, because that's something that I like. I don't feel that way now, but it's something I feel bad about.
yeah,
Like I said, when I'm hyper vigilant about my parenting, because the things I've thought and done in the past, right? So it's something
Yeah.
that I have to work on in my sobriety, obviously, right? And deal with and heal from and I felt like that might be a way to do that, right?
Yeah,
They
I'm actually
always
doing
say,
it, writing a book as well.
haha, we are so alike. This so
I know. It's
what
called One Day You Know You're Not Broken.
oh, I love that title. Oh, that's beautiful. That's like awesome.
Yeah,
Because you're not broken. You can like, do you know what I mean? No matter how broken you think you are, you're not, and you can heal. And I
yeah,
know that from, I don't know, maybe 12 years of addiction. I've only been sober for 4 years. Off of, I've been sober off of alcohol for 6 and 4 for opiates, but it's in that time because like I said, I have a really good doctor. She's an addictions doctor, so she's very good to talk to. And
yeah.
instead of a therapist, I use her. She also has struggled with addiction herself, so she understands.
So she understands.
So she's
Yeah,
really good. And then I also go to the meetings, and I also sometimes practice some of the things that I learn from people that I talk to, right? So like there like yeah, somebody taught me these numbers. If you feel fear, if you say these numbers over and over, it's supposed to get rid of your fear. I don't know if it actually does, but and
have you tried it?
yeah, I do it all the time. It's supposed to get rid of your fear and anxiety, right? And it's called the Allenstein method, right? And I don't know if it works or not, but it's mental suggestion. So in my own mind,
Right.
I think it's working, and so it works, right?
Yeah,
But like I said, I
which
try different things. There's something else I want to try is there's a it's a I forget exactly the name of it, but it's like a brain machine, and it they hook it up to you, and it resets your brain frequency to what it should be for people who have like mental health issues and stuff, because you don't have enough dopamine or serotonin and all
yeah,
that stuff. It sets it back to it like sets your frequencies back to what they should be,
right.
and then you do a therapy session afterwards. And it's something that I was like, I really want to try this because I feel like that might be something that could also help me, because I do have mental health issues, right? So like I've overcome the addiction part, but I still
Yeah,
struggle with my mental health a lot with anxiety
yeah.
like that, right?
Especially because you're still like early. I don't mean like early in recovery, but that all will
It's still early, I
get
think. It's
better. Yeah, that'll all get even. All that will all get better. The longer you are sober. And
mhm.
but that sounds really interesting.
That's what I said to the woman, and wait. The reason she did it, like went and got like she had to become a doctor to be able to use it, but her daughter was an addict, and she wanted to help her daughter, so she researched things, and she thought this would be the best thing to help her daughter. So she trained her, like went to school, trained herself in it, used it on her daughter. Her daughter got sober. Now her and her daughter work together, and both do it with people. So it's
That
crazy
sounds
how.
amazing.
Well, that's when you said that, like with your daughter struggling, one day she will recover, and you guys will be working together. I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
definitely, definitely. And then I have another kid. He's transgender.
Oh, you know what? I had a transgender person on my show when I first started, and I was only doing it locally. And he was on to talk about his mom, right? And she was on, sorry, to talk about her mom and the loss of her mom due to drugs and just their life together and stuff like that. And people only cared about her appearance, and they ripped her to shreds. So what I did was because it's local, I put her on my TV show just to shove it in people's faces because
Yeah,
they can't comment or say anything on that, right? On that
I
platform.
know.
And when it was when I put it on my podcast, people were like, "Oh, you're a beautiful soul." But when I just released it locally, people were so mean, and
Martin?
it's not fair, you know. And I
No, it's
really
not.
realized that. So you are a tough mom, like tough mom. You know what I mean? Because like I know that your child probably has the same kind of bullying at times, you know,
Yeah,
or people just not
yeah,
understanding. And then you got Mama Bear who has gone through a whole lot and can guide you, you know what I mean? Just
yeah.
like your daughter, right? So I think that is definitely what is like your higher powers kind of trying to tell you is like you're here to really help your children through their struggles
Yeah, and
on
to
their
be the
path.
best version of themselves.
And be a very good role model, you know, because look at what you've overcome, even in knowing to stay away from people that are like using that are
Yeah,
family, and being strong enough to do that. I'm not, like I said with my mom, like my husband says we should not let the children be around that. And I just don't know. I'm an only child. I don't know how to say no. I have issues with my mom. It goes back to my childhood where she
yeah.
just, I can't, I have it, it's just issues, right? But um, I can't say no to her, right? And so you have
And
that
see that
strength.
word, see that word no is the biggest word that you can, it's the biggest word that you can never say
And
yet.
put boundaries up. I'm horrible with it. It's but
It's a horrible word.
with my mother I cannot, and it's so hard. And so what I'll do is get my husband to call her if so, like something needs to be told to her about something, so that I don't have to talk to her, because she really mentally gets to me. And
Yeah.
so I know not to talk to her, and I get him to talk to her, but I still haven't fully been able to like do like what you like with your family, where you went, you felt it, and you were like, no.
And you know
You know what I mean?
what, Jasmine, it comes to a point where you just can't do anymore and you just get so fed up being sick around them. Because I would have done anything for my family and it would have just shut on you. But today
Mm-hmm.
I have a choice. I don't need to feel like that anymore. Do you know I'm better? Do you know I have a choice to have a better life? Do you know you just get sick of being fucking walked all over?
Oh yeah, and just put down like you said, and
Yeah,
just made to feel like you're not good enough ever.
yeah,
And it just is something that has followed me my whole life, and that's why that's a trigger for me, obviously, right?
yeah,
I know that, and that's even with that gentleman I spoke of. He's a trigger for that too, because of that whole situation. So for me, I have to learn how to really separate myself from my mother. And one time we didn't speak for 3 months, and my husband was like, "That is the happiest I've ever seen you."
see?
And so it's just learning, I
Well,
guess.
it will all fall into place. So, well,
I just got to be like, well, you know what? My stepdad's coming to live with us, and she's not going to like that. So she'll stop talking to me, and that'll help. As bad as that sounds. As bad as that sounds, right? But he just can't take it anymore either. And it's kind of the same thing. He just can't take her abuse verbally anymore. And she says such horrible things like, um, oh, my kids aren't his real grandkids, and like stuff that really hurts him because he loves them so much.
yeah.
I'm not his daughter and stuff. And like he lost a daughter. It's his like life's plan, right? He had a daughter that passed drowned, right? And
Oh,
and then I came into his life through my mother, right? So it's like it was like life's plan for, for his
for
grief
him.
and for me because I lost my
Yeah,
dad and
your dad.
he acts just like my dad did. He listens to me, he helps me out, he's really there for me and my family. And so it's like life's plan was for us to meet each other and be there for each other. And
Oh,
my
that's
mother,
lovely, isn't it?
yeah, like I feel like he replaced like my dad, like he stepped in for my dad, especially for the kids, right? Because my dad didn't
Yeah,
got to meet my daughter. I have a son as well, but he passed when she was 1. So he never got to meet my son. So now they have a grandfather who
a grand
acts
a
just,
grandfather.
just like my dad would have acted towards them. And it's like almost like he just stepped in and stuff. And
Oh, that's lovely.
my mom likes to spin it the other way and say that I'm disrespecting my father by
Yeah.
acting the way I do. But it's just, she's
But remember, she's not well, and your mummy's not well.
no, she's intoxicated and she has
Yeah.
her own personal traumas from her life. I think that's why I have a hard time saying no to her because I know what her
You
life
know her
has
life
been.
story?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been pretty traumatic. So it's hard for me, but at the same time, I know she's not going to talk to me for a while once my stepdad moves in. So I think that will be a very good thing for me,
A
especially
blessing in disguise.
yeah, like I know it is not giving me as much anxiety as I thought it was going to because this is going to happen on Friday. But before I would have been literally like bedridden and anxious about this, but I honestly know that she will be a happier person not being around him because she just is the way she
Yeah.
is, blames everything on him and she'll be happier. She can go sit out in the garden and, maybe it'll make her realize that he pays for everything. He does everything for her and she treats him like crap. So maybe it'll teach her a lesson too, right?
It'll teach her a lesson. Yeah.
Because she doesn't learn anything. My grandma and I will sit there and talk about it right in front of her and she gets so but it's like
But maybe she'll end up maybe she'll grow up then.
my dad said my mom is a perpetual 15-year-old. And that's how
Yeah.
that's how she behaves, right? So that's the best way to explain it, and that's why it's so negative, right? But
Yeah.
anyhow, I should go check on my children.
Yeah, so should I.
So thank you so much, and you have any last words before I let you go?
No, I'm just so glad that I came in contact with you, Jasmine.
Me too. It was amazing to meet you, and I'm gonna keep obviously in contact. I might have you
Yes, do.
back. Might have you come back. And I'm gonna introduce you to some people. So look for an email from me in the next couple days.
Yes,
I'm gonna see who's like sometimes people are really booked up, so I'm just gonna see who's available and
yeah,
yeah, see
that's good.
help you get your message out there because it's
Yeah, and
definitely
remember in my book now, I'm in the half of it, my book. So I haven't got it published or anything, so I'm just in the middle of half of it.
okay. I'll let them know that too.
Hoping by January it's done.
Perfect. I'll let them know that too, and I'll let them know basically that you have a great message to share and a lot of strength behind you that I think
Yeah.
will help guide people, especially even what you shared with your children, with other parents that have that experience.
Yeah,
Just so much, even with your family, breaking the generational addiction for your own family.
yeah,
Like, you definitely have a lot to share where other people will learn or not even learn, just not feel alone, you know? Like,
exactly.
like
And if that's all I have to offer, that's good. That's good enough.
that's all I have to offer, so I
You
agree.
know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
thank
but that no, Jasmine, thank you very much.
thank you very much, and I
And
will
keep in
be in
contact.
contact. Yeah.
Yes,
So
do.
have
Okay,
a
talk to you soon.
talk to you soon.
Have
Have
a
a
good
good
day.
you too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.